name is Jason J. Rock Houston. You're listening to Chaotic Riffs Magazine, and we can be found on the web at www.chaoticriffs.com. And today our special guest is Angels in Vain singer ChrisVan Dahl. We're interviewing Chris for our On the Record segment, and he's going to be talking about Aerosmith's classic 1975 album, Toys in the Attic. Let's get right into it, Chris. So, as obviously a lot of people know, you spent a lot of your career paying tribute to Steven Tyler, and we have the COVID-19 thing going on, and I know you've been kind of probably down like a lot of musicians. In fact, I was going through some old chats between you, and you were telling me at the time, I don't know when I'm going to have any downtime. I'm always busy. So how's that been affecting you as far as doing your thing?
Well, it's interesting because I started moving away from doing Tyler.
Oh, really?
A while ago.
Okay.
Yeah. And yep. And then and that was actually it was a thing. There were a number of reasons, a number of factors. But ironically, right on the tail of that, everybody knows what happened this year.
Yeah.
It's like I want a refund on 2020.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I'd take it back if I could, but everybody that I know that's in this business is pretty much out of work right now.
Yeah, very, very sad.
So I mean, ironically, and I feel fortunate and blessed that I made a shift in my career and made a move pretty much right before this all happened.
Wow. So talk about perfect timing, huh?
I'm one of the I'm one of the few people that I know that's actually not being affected as badly.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, my heart goes out to everybody in the entertainment industry.
Now, do you
so many people suffering.
So before we get into talking about Toys in the Attic, can you tell us what the move is? I mean, is it kind of, I know other project you've had going on for a number of years is Angels in Vain, and you've been posting on your Facebook page that you're finally at the point you're going to be getting that out. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's definitely part of it. That's kind of what started the decision to move in the direction to move away from doing Tyler. Is that if you do something long enough, you can lose yourself in it.
Yeah.
And I did it for so many years, and I was doing 11 shows a week. I was performing 6 days a week, 2 shows a day on the average.
Yeah.
And I would be gone for up to a year at a time.
I remember at one point you were even doing shows in Hawaii with legends in concert. Yeah.
But I was actually there for almost a year. I spent 14 months on a cruise ship.
Wow.
If you can imagine that.
Yeah. So, we'll get.
So the Angels in Vain thing started out as a labor of love, and it was like, Taz from Cherry Street and myself. We said, let's write a record. No rules.
Yeah.
It's just, you know what I mean? If people like it, that's great. If they don't, that's fine too. But I just needed to do something different, and it became a thing, and it was nice to kind of feel like myself again.
I'm kind of
wrong. I mean,
I was gonna say I'm kind of glad to hear that, because I will say this: you were really great at what you did. I mean, I dare say that there are a lot of guys that pay tribute to Aerosmith and Steven Tyler, but you've been doing it so long. But I think almost you became legendary at it. No pun intended. But I mean, I would say you're the premier Steven Tyler tribute. You're probably one of the first guys people think of when they think of guys that do Steven Tyler.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You know what? It's interesting because I've always had an affinity towards Aerosmith. I've always loved their music.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a little kid, and it's something that just happened.
Oh yeah.
When I moved to Vegas, I kind of fell into it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for a while. I realized that there were people in this business. They're tribute artists, and that's their dream. That's their goal in life. They want to be an Elvis or whatever. So here I am. I just kind of showed up and said, all right, let's do this. Why not?
Yeah.
And I was really lucky. It worked out the way it did. And then having actually met and having spent real time with Steven, it was a game changer for me.
Well, it's kind of...
now it's about the person,
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because, I mean, you and another guy that used to be both used to be the singer for LA Guns, you and Ralph Sinez, who's now known as Michael Starr. you guys were briefly in LA Guns, and you'd think a band like that you'd be making a little bit of money, but actually you and him both, like he actually left the Atomic Punch, which is a great Van Halen tribute out here in LA, and he left LA Guns to go back to do that, and I mean he was actually making more money doing the tribute thing as you, Chris. I mean, it's kind of interesting because you guys have been very successful, as you know. It is much easier to do the tribute thing and make a living than it is sometimes doing your own original music.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you can do it right, pull it off, for sure.
And I just got to say, in regards to Angels in Vain, this is one of the things I've been watching, kind of in the making, like a lot of people for the last several years. And I'm glad you never gave up on it, because originally you had guys like Stacey Blades and Troy Patrick Farrell and Eric Stacey, all kind of named guys from LA rock scene, and one by one they kind of moved on to do other things. Now, let me ask you, as far as the Angels in Vain record, are those original characters going to appear on the album, with what they had recorded, or you got news guys that have kind of recorded it?
Okay, so here's the thing. This is a good opportunity to kind of set the record straight, because I really haven't been talking much about this in quite a while. Every once in a while, I'll drop the hint when there's something happening.
Yeah.
So, like I said originally, this thing started out as a labor of love. I never thought it through to the point of, is this going to be a real band? It was about writing music with my partner.
Yeah. Taz. Yeah.
Which is exactly. Yeah. Todd Jazz Anthony. And we started writing this record, and some years back, Casey and I have been friends for a long time. Yeah. We were both living in Vegas, and he called me up, and shortly after Bowie passed away, and he said, "Hey, we're going to be doing this tribute thing. Do you want to sing?" And it was going to be like a live memoriam kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, I said, sure. So let's pick some songs, that kind of thing. Well, as it got closer and closer, the deal fell through, and he's like, "So what are you going to do?" He's like, "This isn't happening. Why don't we put together some kind of a band, and we'll get some other guys, and we'll do like covers of our own stuff." So it would be like LA Guns and Faster Pussycat. I go, "No, man, I don't have any interest in doing that."
Yeah. Been there, done that.
I'm working on right. I'm working on this record, and he goes, "Wait, what? What record?" And I kind of told him what Taz and I were doing. He's like, "Well, let me hear it." And I was like, nah. He said, "Come on." So I sent him a couple of tracks, and it wasn't 2 hours later, he called me back, and he goes, "Dude," he goes, "Look," he goes, "I just talked to Eric Stacey. We want to be your band."
Oh, wow.
We want to be the band. And like I said, never even thought about that. I mean, we were 3-4 songs deep at the time, Taz and I. So it was just something we were chipping away at a little at a time. No rush, no timelines, no record company, nothing like that. But, I was like, wow, now this is something to think about.
Yeah.
So I talked to Taz about it. We're like, well, who are we going to get to play drums? And originally, it was going to be Vic Fox.
Wow.
From Riffs Enough.
Yeah.
And something went down. Him and his wife have a company, and I think it was Peru, and they had to go. So Vic actually suggested Troy Patrick Farrell.
Wow.
And that's how Troy ended up with us. So we went from Taz and I had written and recorded a handful of songs to suddenly we've got a whole band, and we're in the studio shooting videos and this and that. Now remember, the music's written. A lot of it's already
Yeah.
And, so I put the teaser out there just to see. I was kind of curious what was going to happen. And all of a sudden, it's like you go on Facebook and it's like, 500,000 people talking about this.
That had to be like just blow your mind. I mean, I'll tell you. I mean, I remember when I first saw the video, I think, and heard the track for 1973, and then I got to tell you, I love the cover you did for, "Don't You Forget About Me."
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, anyway, long story short, it didn't work out, and the reason it didn't work out is because it wasn't grown organically.
Yeah.
What you had essentially were two guys that had written some music with other people coming in that all needed to make a living.
Of course.
Okay, so that's the thing. You got professional musicians, and you also have some guys that were pretty well known in their day.
Yeah.
So you're going to have the egos.
Yeah.
We all have them. You have to have some kind of ego or some kind of skin in this business just to survive.
Of course, yeah.
And, people want to make money, and they're like, let's take this on the road. Let's get out there. Let's start playing. And I'm like, what are we going to play? We've got 4 songs right now.
Yeah.
Well, we'll play LA Guns. And I go, no, we're back to the cover thing. And that's not what this is.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've always had a very clear idea about what this was and what was going to be. And I didn't want to cheapen it by jumping out on the road and playing a bunch of crap that we didn't actually write.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great thing, and especially if you're going to relaunch your career, this is the way to do it,
Yeah, well, I wasn't even concerned with that. I mean, there's not a lot in my mind that needs relaunching.
Well, I mean, as far as, like you said, you're going to stop doing the tribute thing. You kind of made that decision. If you're going to go that route, then you want to kind of at least put out your own original music, I would think,
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, to finally answer your question, Chaz is and always will be a part of this because we wrote, recorded, and produced everything together.
Yeah.
As far as what was played by the other guys, so Stacy tracked a solo for Trip of a Lifetime, and that will remain in place.
Okay.
I don't even know if he laid down a rhythm track on that song. I don't think he did.
Yeah.
I think he just laid a solo. And Troy Patrick Sparrow. Month before last, we just wrapped up drum tracks.
Oh, cool.
Again. Yep, Desert Moon Studios. We did it at Danny Coker, the Count 77.
Yeah.
Most people know him as the Count from County Cars. But we did it at Desert Moon with Stoney Curtis. So Troy's on the album. Our bass player is actually Adam Curry. Oh. And a lot of your fans may know him from Legs Diamond and Candlebox.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, so Stacy's out, but the rest of the guys are kind of still going to be with you, right? I mean, as far as once the album comes out and you guys maybe are able to take it out on the road?
I don't think so. Stacy's not a part. Stacy's doing his own thing.
No, but I mean, like Adam. I mean, like Adam is still with you, and Troy is still with you.
Oh yeah, Adam, Troy. If Troy's available when it comes time to actually get out there, that's a choice that he'll make at that time.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
But it will be his choice. We love him. He's an awesome guy, and he's an amazing drummer. It felt so good to actually get the live drum tracks on these songs.
Oh, yeah.
He did a killer job with them. But the thing has been so Troy came into the studio, but Adam's tracking his stuff from LA.
Okay.
Where he's at, and Taz is flying in from Texas. People wonder why it takes so long, but all these guys are doing other things.
Yeah.
Taz is in Union Underground.
Yeah.
He's also a producer, engineer. So he's recording other bands. Adam's out touring with Candlebox. Troy is with Gilby Clarke and White Lion. And
in fact, I've seen Troy live once when he was playing with Gilby Clarke, and just an awesome drummer. I gotta tell people, he's played with everybody.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And okay, Chris, let's. And then, do you have a release date, or because I see that you're at the mixing stage, or you guys got a target date or anything?
We're talking about it right now. That's what we're trying to decide. We were thinking end of this year, beginning of next year. I don't know. You want to do anything in 2020, man? Yeah,
I mean, let's start fresh. But I mean, you want to talk about some?
The record is done.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
You want to talk about something funny?
The one thing.
Bon Jovi was going to call their new album 2020, and I think it's coming out next week finally. But they held off on releasing it, and they were thinking of not releasing it until next year. But how are you going to have an album called 2020 and you release it next year?
Right.
Yeah. Anyways,
you can put a pair of eyeballs on the front, I guess.
Yeah, that's great to hear because there was a lot of, like you said in the beginning, build up about Angels in Vain, and I got to tell people too. I don't know if they're aware, Chris. You're a great artist as far as kind of up with logos and drawing. I mean, all that Angels in Vain art. I don't know if people know you did that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Again, it's a labor of love. You know what I mean? It's like one of the cool things about the band is the guys in the band, we all have unique skill sets.
Yeah, that's
as a producer and an engineer. You know what I mean? It's like we all bring something to the table. So
that's cool. That's cool. And I just think it's great. It's finally going to be getting out there soon because it is, like you said, taking you so long. And you know, the songs were posted at one time on YouTube, and I don't know why they were taken down for a while, but it's great to see that this is finally coming to which I can't wait to hear it. But and we'll definitely do a follow-up interview once it gets released. But now let's get into Toys in the Attic. And I was discussing with you because, you know, obviously you're an Aerosmith tribute guy, or previously were, and you've done a lot of these songs, you know, performing live. So it's great to talk to a guy that actually knows about this stuff. Toys in the Attic was one of the albums you mentioned to me, and I got to tell you, you mentioned Toys in the Attic and Rocks. And as far as my favorite Aerosmith albums, I go between those two. But I think if I had to pick one, I'd say Toys in the Attic's my favorite because that's the first Aerosmith album I was ever exposed to. That's the songs on here, like Walk This Way, Sweet Emotion. Those are the first songs I ever heard on the radio by Aerosmith, you know. So this album has a special place in my heart to me. How about you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. You know, it's so funny because, and I think we've talked about this before, but for your listeners that may or may not know this, so I'm the youngest of four. I'm the baby of my family, and I've got an older brother who was older enough so that when this stuff came out, he was buying it.
Yeah.
And he brought this record home, and we shared a room. We had bunk beds.
Wow.
And we left the house, and I got into his record collection, and, you know, I was drawn to the cover.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was, you know, back then, and a lot of kids today, they maybe don't have an idea what it's like to physically hold an album in your hand and to pull the sleeve out and look at the liner notes and the photographs and, you know, to have to wait for the music. Your favorite band is putting a record out, but you know it's not coming for 6 months. So anyway, I was just fascinated by it. And, you know, when he came home and put it on, I was like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, people. I mean, I'm old school like you. People miss, you know, what that experience was like. I mean, I remember a lot of places I used to hang out with, like Tower Records, you know, Music Plus, Sam Goody's, places like that. You know, music stores. You used to be able to go in the mall and you could buy, you know, you could buy your favorite CD or album or whatever at the time. Even when they had cassettes, I used to spend hours and hours in Tower Records because, I mean, they just had such a huge selection. I remember going. They used to have a board telling you all the new release dates and everything, and I'd almost kind of plan like what I was going to buy around my paycheck. Okay, that's coming out next week. That's going to come out next week, and it used to be a real experience. I remember the first time I seen like Kiss Alive, you know, in the store. You pick it up and you got that double live gatefold. It's like nothing you ever seen. And luckily for a lot of people, vinyl's kind of making a comeback amazingly, but you know, people want everything so immediately. As you know, like a lot of people these days will, I'm not going to bother buying the whole album. I'll just buy the latest single or whatever. But I'm like you. I want to have a full package, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that then was what you looked forward to. It was the experience. It was everything about it. You know, it's about immediate gratification now. I mean, iTunes is the microwave of music.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we cook something now. It takes a minute. It used to take an hour, and we're still sitting there in front of the microwave going, come on. Same thing with music.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like bites. Everything's real quick.
Yeah. And it's funny, like, you go down the list, okay, Toys in the Attic, title track off this album, just a great kind of hard rock tune, Uncle Salty, Adam's Apple, that's one of the first tunes I've ever heard, and I remember I was so young at the time, what's an Adam's Apple? What's that about? You know, and then Walk This Way is a perfect example of just what Steven Tyler is known for, his kind of nonsensical, you know, lyrics, but somehow they sound cool, and you know, it doesn't really matter if it doesn't make sense. It's just a great song.
Well, that's that song that caused the Run DMC guys to call him the Godfather of rap.
Yeah. And it's interesting, when you look back at how many years ago now that collaboration was. I mean, there's a generation of people, you know, younger than you and me, Chris, that they think when they hear Walk This Way, they think that's a Run DMC song. They had no idea of what came before, you know.
Yeah. suppose that's true.
Yeah. And I was reading today that Sweet Emotion, that's another one of my favorite Aerosmith tracks, but that is a song that was actually written by Tom Hamilton, and it was actually kind of written about how the other band members didn't get along with Joe Perry's wife at the time. And I read in some of the books that when Joe Perry decided to leave the band, that they actually broke up over spilt milk, like backstage. It was just...
Literally.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally over spilt milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another track I love is No More, No More. And then You See Me Crying, that's cool, and they got Round and Round. But that's kind of a song I always really like too, No More, No More. And, you know, back in the day, they used to have, like, some albums at the time would only have 8 or 9 tracks. This one has 9 tracks, but they're 9 tracks that you just can't get out of your head, you know?
You know, that's the thing, too. It's like every one of these songs is solid.
Mm-hmm.
Solid material. And I think there are only 2 songs on this album that we didn't play live at some point. For whatever reason, we never got around to Uncle Salty and Round and Round. But the other songs we've done. Yeah,
and not that it's a bad song, but Round and Round, that's one of those tracks that just, I'll listen to it if I'm playing the album, but it never really, you know, stayed in my head for whatever reason. But the other tracks just, and then as I was sharing with you what you said you're already aware of, one of my all-time favorites off this is Big 10-inch record. And interestingly enough, if you listen to the lyrics, they sound like Steven Tyler lyrics. So, you know, this is just kind of some funny, you know, non-cynical lyrics. But I was reading up, it's actually a cover by this guy, the guy that originally did, his name is, he's a sax player named Bull Moose
Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson. And it actually was a big hit for him all the way back in 1952. So that's how far back they went to cover this song. And interestingly enough, I found another part of his story is that, take a guess, Chris, who turned Aerosmith onto this song to cover? You're gonna laugh when I tell you.
Raymond Tabano?
No.
Jack Douglas?
No, they're drug dealer. It just said in this thing I read that Aerosmith's drug dealer. I guess all the guys had the same drug dealer. I guess.
Right.
Turned them on to this song because they were like in need of like one more song for the album. It just, when you hear about it, it's like,
so funny.
It's fun. The drug dealer turned them on to this song. It was a big hit, big blues hit, like in the 1952. But I never knew that. So the things you learn about some of your favorite music, you know.
Well, they're kind of known for that. I mean, do you know that Train Kept a Rollin' was written by Tiny Bradshaw in 1951?
What song? What song was that?
Train Kept a Rollin'.
Oh no, okay. I knew it was like. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought it was a Yardbirds song originally. Was it?
No.
Oh really?
Yardbirds covered it too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tiny Bradshaw wrote it in 1951.
Yeah.
Yardbirds didn't come till later.
Oh wow. Yeah, you know, and interesting enough, both Train Kept a Rollin' and Big 10-inch record. I mean, I would say Aerosmith did such a great job of covering these songs that you talk to anybody today, most people think these are Aerosmith songs. They have no idea that,
of course,
you know, they were originally done by, and that's what a great job Tyler did of any song you really pick out of Aerosmith's catalog. I mean, he really made it his own. You know, he owns it when he sings it, which I'm sure as a performer, Chris, when you were up there performing these Aerosmith tunes, I mean, I know you gave it your all and you put your heart and soul into it.
You know, I've always had an affinity for the older stuff, but you're absolutely right. It's like I was saying before, you know, it was one thing when I was doing this before I met Steven and knew the guys in the band. It's another thing when you actually know that person and it's like, it becomes personal.
Yeah.
You know, it becomes a matter of actual, you know, true and honest respect. So, yeah, it was a priority to me.
Yeah,
there's no point in doing it if you're not going to do it right.
Yeah, and you know, and it's funny because as many people know, Chris Van Dahl, you also, before you started doing the Aerosmith tribute, you played on that one LA Guns album in '95, and it's an interesting little footnote, I guess, in your career. But oddly enough, you're known more for this, which I think you're so great at doing the Tyler tribute that just speaks, kind of volumes about your talent. That you can, I mean, if you compare what you're doing with Aerosmith, let's say, to what you played on that '95 album with LA Guns, American Hardcore, that was the name of it. I mean, it almost like two different guys, but that's just what a capable singer you are. I mean, it's kind of funny. I bet when you go back and look at those photos when you're doing that one tour with LA Guns, you had the mohawk. You look so drastically different. People would think it was two different people, but that's what a talented guy you are. You can change your image. You can kind of change your voice based on what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I think you have to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I joined LA Guns, thinking, here's this great rock band.
Yeah.
We're going to write great rock songs, and I'm going to sing the way I sing. And it was a sign of the times because what people were listening to, the Down, Corrosion of Conformity, like all these incredibly heavy bands. The reason Guns brought me in is because they wanted essentially somebody to help usher them into a new era and give them a new perspective of what the band stood for.
Yeah.
And I was just hoping to go in and do what Phil did.
Yeah.
And just write great melodies and sing great rock and roll songs. And they wanted something different from me.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason it really didn't work.
Yeah.
I think if we changed the name of the band and tried to do that, it might have. But that wasn't LA Guns.
Well, it's funny. I remember you guys had to change the name to the LA Guns. But how glad are you that you weren't involved in all that stuff? You weren't part of a band when they have all these two different LA Guns, feuding bands.
Oh no.
It just kind of got out of hand. Yeah, but
I mean, people can do what they want, and again, everybody's need to make a living.
That's the base.
Even having been the singer for that band,
yeah,
and I was the first guy that actually took. They'd broken up. They weren't even a band.
Yeah.
When Tracy found me, I was the first guy to step in after Phil. But when I think of LA Guns, even when I was in LA Guns, I thought of Tracy and Phil.
Yeah.
So,
that's funny. And I got to ask, because the bass player that was in LA Guns with you, his name was Johnny Crypt. Have you talked to him in years? I was curious because I know for a while when you guys left LA Guns that you had a project going on, I think called The Vow. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And have you kind of you think any of that music will ever get out, or you just kind of decided to shelve it?
Oh man, it's funny. I was just contacted by a friend of mine. His name's Ken Anthony, and he writes for Metal Forces out of Europe.
Yeah. And
he was just asking if I had any interest, or we had any interest in releasing any of that stuff, because they've got a label out there. They're interested in the Boneyard stuff and the Vow stuff. I don't know.
Oh wow.
And I got to say that because I'm not the only person on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how
to get a set of other guys.
I've spoken to some of these guys.
Yeah.
You gotta be in touch with people to know. I've got a record with Kenny Olsen.
Yeah.
The guitar player from Kid Rock. We got a full record done, actually.
Yeah.
Close to a double album that may or may never see the light of day.
Yeah. Well, if not, I think Angels in Vain is. Yeah. I think Angels in Vain is a great thing that you're involved in. So that's something we're definitely looking forward to, and so I'm glad to see that's fun. Now let me ask you, so Chris, since in regards to Angels in Vain, have you written is this music that's going to be on the Angels in Vain album? Is it all back from when you guys first started recording, or do you have any new music you've written that's going to be on there?
Oh no, we've got songs that I finished 3 weeks ago.
Wow. So this has been an ongoing process.
Yeah, it's been going on the whole time. It's been going on the whole time. But that's the thing. It's like it's been chipping away at it.
I love that reference. Chipping away at the stone. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, 4 months will go by and I won't have a chance to get in the studio.
Yeah.
And then I'll have a run of a week, and it's like 24/7 for that week. I'm in there working.
And so
same thing with the other guys.
I assume you have your own home studio. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. And so do you think once the album is out, you guys may at least be doing some appearances around Vegas where you live? Because I know before the pandemic, Vegas has kind of become like the musical capital of the world.
Well, really, because who's playing?
Well, I mean, because
I mean?
at the time, you had all these guys that were like, like yourself, Stacy Blazes, another guy just comes to mind.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, I mean, this is definitely the new LA, the new Sunset Strip, whatever you want to call it. Yes.
Because
a lot of guys have ended up here in Vegas.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, I know Blas Ellis was playing with Blue Man Group, and all these cats are coming in for raiding the Rock Vault, Tenors of Rock, and So I say never say never.
Yeah,
I don't know when live music is going to be happening again.
Yeah, because that's a sad thing. California, where I'm from, the governor, he's like making these statements. I don't, a lot of it is political. They're starting to say, maybe after the election, but but the thing is that like the governor here in California said, I don't know when we're going to allow concerts to come back. Very, very sad thing. And you just bringing up the LA Strip. A lot of those clubs, are, like the Troubadour, are in danger of closing down for good because they're losing so much money. That's just a very sad state of affairs,
It is. It is, and it's a national landmark. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so before we wrap this up, Chris, I got to ask you. So obviously, talk about the first time you saw Aerosmith in concert. That had to. I mean, I knew that blew your mind because of what you've been doing the last several years. It had an effect on you, obviously.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the first Aerosmith concert I actually saw.
It's like
I'm gonna have to say it was probably 89. I think
wow.
it's the first time I actually had a chance to see them.
After Permanent Vacation and all that.
In the Great Western Forum.
Wow, yeah, after Permanent Vacation and all that came, that was like their true comeback. So let me ask you, there's obviously kind of two eras to the band. There's the era you and I grew up on, like in the 70s, and then they had their big comeback like in 1987 with Permanent Vacation, and they've just pretty much been going non-stop. I mean, the 80s, they did a lot of, they had a lot of success, but if I'm honest, I have to say that kind of the 70s, because that's where I got my first taste of Aerosmith, that's kind of my favorite stuff, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely do. And I tend to agree with you. It was raw and fresh, and it wasn't overproduced. And, you know what I mean? It's like, you got exactly what you were expecting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like Jack Douglas, who produced Toys in the Attic and Rocks, I think, I was reading, he became kind of a sixth member of Aerosmith for a while. I think that's the producer. That's the guy that knows Aerosmith's sound, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. The funny thing about Jack is Aerosmith's doing the residency in Vegas, and I was out there opening night.
Wow.
And, and Jack was there, and we were talking, and it was funny, because I don't get starstruck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I spent so many years in LA.
Mm-hmm.
You meet everybody, you get to know everybody. The industry is 2 blocks long, and it's like you become comfortable in that situation.
Yeah.
I guess you become familiar with it, just like anything else.
Yeah.
And it was like, holy shit, that's Jack Douglas.
Yeah, that's the guy.
What I mean? And I was kind of with him the way most people are, like when they meet Robert Plant or Steven Tyler.
Yeah.
So I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, Mr. Douglas," I said, "Can I have a picture with you?" And he's like,
"Who are you?" Yeah.
"You want a picture with me?"
Yeah.
It was fun. So he's like, "Sure." So he's a really, really nice guy, right? So we take a picture.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 minutes later, I feel a tap on my shoulder, and it's Jack. And he's like, "Hey," he's like, "So my wife has been bugging me ever since. Will you take a picture with her?"
Yeah. Wow.
So it was funny. So Jack came back over after I asked him for a picture to ask me if I would take a picture with his wife.
Now, was this because you were kind of looking like Steven Tyler at the time, or he's like, "Let's play a trick on my wife"?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's why.
Wow.
Of course.
Yeah. What a great story.
Oh,
that is. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was in the park.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Where the rest.
Well,
so we were hiding in the corner. It was I was with Raymond Sabano.
Oh wow.
Who was your listeners probably well, they probably know, but Raymond was one of the founding members. He was the first guitarist in Aerosmith.
Oh wow! I wasn't even aware of that. And so let me let me ask you, Chris. So like I said, in regards to Aerosmith's ups and downs through their career, like there was a period where both Brad Whitford and Joe Perry were out of the band. Were you a fan of any of the music they made during that time, or not really?
So you know that I had a band with Jimmy Crespo, right?
Yeah. That's kind of why I'm asking. Yeah.
And he's one of the guitar players. Okay, so I probably have a more. I got a special place in my heart for it. Because I had to learn all the songs on "Rockin' a Hard Place."
Yeah. That's kind of it's kind of sad that didn't work out because I thought Jimmy Crespo, he's always been kind of an underrated player because, I mean, let's be honest, compared to Joe Perry,
so good.
You know, but like that, I think it was Nights in the Ruts that he did with them. I love that song, especially I think it's Lightning Strikes. But just the overall album, I think, I was listening to the other day, you know, you can go on YouTube and I just typed in Nights in the Ruts, it brought out the full album, I was able to hear everything. And I thought, wow, man, so many people have forgotten about what a great album that is, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And they tend to bury it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, they're not really playing those songs in this Aerosmith because that's a period of time that left a bad taste in everybody's mouth.
Yeah.
Also, Steven was spinning on drugs at that time.
Yeah. And,
so, I mean...
And let's not forget, him and Joe had such a toxic relationship that they were known as Terror Twins. I mean, I've heard stories where...
Toxic.
Yeah, toxic twins. Especially Steven towards Joe. They have such a love-hate, almost like brothers thing for each other. But I guess like Steven realized they make, you know, Aerosmith makes better music when Joe's in the band than when he's not in the band.
Right.
Yeah. And
right.
And it's interesting because
chemistry.
Yeah, because so many bands that they make, you know, they hate each other and yet they make such beautiful music together. I mean, a great example of that is the band Creedence Clearwater Revival. All the guys in that band hated each other. You had the two brothers, couldn't stand one another. But look at that great music they made, you know?
No, I'll go you one better. It's the Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
They finally got back together and they called it Hell Freezes Over Tour, you know?
Yeah, and they're continuing to do it since Glenn Frey died with his son, so that's kind of cool, you know? And then I got to ask you, because there was that one album in '85, Done with Mirrors. Were you at all a fan of that album?
I'm a fan of Let the Music Do the Talking.
Yeah. Now that's interesting because that would be my favorite track, and as you know, that was originally done by the Joe Perry Project.
I know.
Yeah, but yeah. And then of course,
and I like both versions of the song.
Yeah. So that's great. So I want to thank you for taking time to do this, Chris. Today it was great catching up with you, and please let's keep in touch. And when the Angels in Vain album does drop, I want to do an interview that specifically about that, kind of really to help promote that and get the word out, because this is something I've been waiting for, like a lot of your fans, for so many years. I'm sure you're happy that it's finally getting out there, but I can't wait to see the songs that are on the album that you haven't even posted.
How happy I am that I got to tell you, I know I'm interrupting you briefly, but I'm so happy that it's going to get released.
Oh, yeah.
If for no other reason, because I've been saying it's going to be released for so long, nobody believes me anymore.
Yeah. Well, I kind of believe you now that you said it's in you've handed it over, it's being mastered and all that, so that's a good sign kind of right there. But, I mean, the stuff that you posted so far, I mean, it's such great stuff. It's like, it takes me back to 1973. It reminds me of the classic rock I grew up on. And, I mean, if that stuff that you posted early on is that great, I can only imagine some of the newer tunes, like you said, that you were just working on 3 weeks ago. So it's going to be exciting when it comes out. So you have a great day, Chris, and thanks for doing this again, okay? Take care.
It's my pleasure, brother.
Hey,
have
bye-bye.
a good one.